Modern Religion, Part 2 of 5. I was to meet the Master with Hamish, the previous prophet, and there's hot debate over whether it's Pippi, a girl I met at the summit in 2023. She would have been a small child. She's only 25 now, and it was to happen in the early 2000s. Or Bob Sutton of Skeptic Spain. Hamish had done his dash and couldn't be bothered with me. He had living, working toys in his room in New York. He had made a bomb to blow up the world. I was to meet my wife, Devoney Scarf, a school friend. We all just wanted to die in the 2000s, in our mid-20s. On the way, having numerous romantic encounters and heated battles. A plaster of Shane Guscott was to take to me with a machine gun, but I'm bulletproof. I was supposed to tackle a car. Hamish tackled a bull apparently in the 80s and scored a goal playing soccer in Dunedin at a festival in 1994, Modern Rock, none of which happened. Devoney's first sighting, she studied in Dunedin. I saw a poster of the festival when I went down there in 2000. I'd like to know what he really got up to. That's how close it came to being real. Exact opposite theory it is. I was to meet Beyonce at the top of a building in Tauranga and have lots of babies with all the women. Swim with a killer whale who represented a woman called Summer, who I met in the 2000 teens. I had 12 apostles from Tupid, they're from STEM era, Marriottation of the English language. Summer was Tupid's wife. I would hang out with Tupid and he was to be crucified in a steel confiner down the main road of Tauranga, but was to be saved. There's an idea he was to be shot by a policeman in the toilet. And then I was to die ceremoniously, meeting up with my wife at the point of death at about 35. I'm 49 now though. Forever our souls 3 feet above the ground. But it kept changing. I was to end up staying with Hamish and Lisa Milton at Harvey Street, and we live a long life to old age. And by about 2009, with the evolution of my symbol, it became about transporting ourselves to inhabitable planets where we would be forever young and live forever. Everybody went through it in the 2000s and had their own idea of which I had no part of, which is like how real life is and how well people can know you, and everybody's, of course, their own hero in their life. I like to hear their vision. I have a hint of an idea, but that I really am an outsider, or does everybody feel like that is part of my mental illness, which I will talk about later. I was to meet Stevie Nicks and God knows what else. I kept waiting for it to be real in the 2000s, and it just keeps you hanging on and changing even today. Originally to die in Australia, where Hamish died first, as I said before. It was forever, I know, and the reason the world keeps turning, or just something that happened but nobody's talked about openly, because it goes without saying, she'll be right, that it will eventuate, but I believe it's a bygone era now. That's why I tell you these things. It's impossible to answer because they don't have to feel bad about themselves unless you're going to be a psychopath. And Finkelstein, the guy in Germany who broke the town's concentration and killed them. People don't talk about that. A lot of people want to do that kind of thing because they should have things their way and aren't allowed to by the right, and they're ambitious. I tell you these things as a record of what happened for me, and nobody's going to notice it because she'll be right. I hope people want to hear it, and it's informative and revelating. This is what my life was for. The dream kept changing, and after a meeting with Brent Bannon, who brought up the two witnesses in 2010 and had Lucifer as Adam, it became about revelation, which I'd forgotten to read previously, even though studying the Bible quite intently in the 2000s. So by about 2010, things started to exaggerate, and the idea of Tupid was replaced by revelation, and it became the Antichrist in 2014 with Facebook, until October 2018, when it made a legitimate attempt to make it real and didn't succeed, so I decided that was that. I used to get stoned on space in 2010, a marijuana replacement, and seeing as it was all about me, I came up with album concepts for the main acts of music: the Deftones, Tool, Sepultura, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, Iron Maiden, Foo Fighters, and many more as a rock and roll climax. The idea was to come up with the concept for the album with a title and a cover, and then the band make the music. If I had it my way, the right people would have done everything for me, but because if I didn't, it wouldn't get done. I painted them the best I could at a turning point. This is what I'm talking about with human nature, that people have known I was going to do this speech the whole time and mocked it and made money off it, and there's nothing I can do about it. Money being what I call a shutdown by Cardi B for her song Hi Cardi, or should I say hi bitch. Everybody just wants to cover it up because things will come out naturally, and when I did the paintings, and by that stage I'd been put on Facebook by a fellow classmate, Turning Point, Michael Lyons, so I posted them up. At about this time I discussed my relationship with Renee. She was May's sister, so I had to have her, and it turns out to everyone else she is the queen, which I didn't know about, and changed everything. And Brent came along and stuck his nose in, and I took up the challenge. He would talk your absolute nonsense so eloquently about the Bible, and I was trying to figure out Revelation, how it relates to me. This is about 2010. Our friendship lasted about a year and a half, coming to a head when I made him out with it that he wanted Renee, and never really seen him since, but he's a voice and he bugs me. He has ever since, and many people I've met are, and it's worse now that my dreams of being a religious superhero are over. Our relationship, me and Renee, got off to a rip-roaring start. We were parted for a few weeks. I assaulted her because I wasn't going to take any more from the voices and you. I went to jail for 5 days in Waikato Institute Henry Bennett's for 5 weeks before being allowed back to Tauranga. While I was there, she told me we were having a baby, another massive controversy. I was arrested. When I was arrested, she met up with a guy who family thinks is the father. I got a DNA test and failed, but the ultrasound said 8 weeks. I've been away 6 weeks and had sex 2 weeks before. I know I'm the dad. It can happen that you don't have the same DNA. His name is Tommy. That's the end of part 2. Part 3 coming up next. Thank you.